The euro area is 5 years into an existential crisis with no end in sight. That's according to my guest, Bloomberg Eurozone Economist, Maxime Sbaihi. Good to see you, Maxime.
Nice to be on.
You've looked at several alternatives for fixing the Eurozone, and of course the problems are beyond the current Greek financial crisis. You don't think, though, that dismantling the area is a good option. Why?
No, it's not a good option because if you look at the European economies, there is so much link in terms of trade and finance that if you come back to a fragmented economic zone, this could prove risky. For example, if you have some national central banks starting a continental currency war, for example. So fragmentation is not the best thing for Europe to do right now.
So let's talk about what would work. One option you think is for the member states to restructure your debt. How would that work, and what would that accomplish?
Well, what would that accomplish? Actually, if you look at the Eurozone right now, the existential question, the multi-trillion existential question is how do you bring record high public debt levels down when you have inflation so low, growth set to remain sluggish, and austerity fatigue? This is the equation. This needs to be answered. And one solution to that is debt restructuring. It needs to be done in an orderly way. It needs to be done in a way to avoid moral hazard issues or financial turbulences. But it's not banned in treaties, but it's still a taboo. And we see, for example, with the Greek example, that fiscal consolidation is reaching its limits right now. So there are a lot of financial instruments able to help with that. GDP-linked bonds, for example, is one solution that could help countries to restructure the debt.
You also think the European economies are too dependent on the banking sector. So how do you fix that?
Well, yeah, you're right. It's too dependent. If you look at corporate debt right now, 80% of the debt is made from bank loans. So as soon as the banking sector starts to experience some stress, you see the credit tap closed, and there's no credit supply anymore, to make it simple. This is what happened over the last years. So what we need to do in the Eurozone would be to fulfill the capital markets union. So that means harmonizing the regulations to allow more cross-border investment and also to boost the securitization market. The securitization market in Europe right now is 1/5 the size of the US. That's very low.
Maxime, another suggestion you have is to create competitiveness councils. How would that flow over and impact all the various economies in Europe?
So it's not my idea, to be clear. This has been suggested by André Sapir from the Bruegel think tank. And the idea here is to have an oversight body in each country to make sure that wages don't outpace productivity. This has been a problem over the past years. This led to the crisis in some countries like Portugal or Italy, and leading to macroeconomic imbalances, which cannot be corrected by exchange rates since they don't exist anymore in the Eurozone. So this idea is to have this body writing recommendations and making sure that competitiveness doesn't erode over the time. This would be non-binding, but it would provide a valuable benchmark for public debates and during pay negotiations between employers and employees.
Are we ever going to see a United States of Europe?
That's a dream. That's a dream. That was Victor Hugo's dream, Winston Churchill's dream. It's probably too soon for that. We might never get there, actually, because the thing we have to remember here is we're talking about the theory, but in practice, we are seeing Euroscepticism rising in the Eurozone. The electorate is not following the idea, and they're growing actually skeptic towards the very idea of a common currency in the Eurozone. And this needs to be taken into account. So it's probably way too soon to start talking about a political union. We might get there in some years, decades maybe, or even more than that, but this is definitely too soon to talk about it.
Maxime Sbaihi of Bloomberg, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.